Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video in Power Creep. Did you know Power Creep exists in Hearthstone? Where a new card, say like Spider, is strictly better than an old card, like Spider Tank, which was a 3/4 mech with no ability. And well, I thought it'd be fun to go over some examples from Titans of cards that are just flat out better than old cards. Sometimes you can make arguments between the two, but it should be a lot of fun. And I want to announce our giveaway winner for that BlizzCon Legendary Pack. They have been message contacted. If I don't hear back from them in 24 hours, I will select a new winner. And thank you all so much for the support entering the giveaway. We're going to have, I think, a pretty big one coming up when that next expansion is announced. So stay tuned and keep hitting that sub button if you feel like I've earned it. So yeah, I start off with the Spider Tank example, but we're not going to be doing like Yetis or River Crocs or anything like that. We're going to try and go for a little bit more meaningful power creep. And well, let's start off with what better class than Death Knight. First, we have Frozen Over, a 2-mana frost spell. Both players draw 2 cards. Your opponent cannot play them next turn. Straight up better card than Research Project, which was available for Mage, which your opponent can play those cards, no problem. This does have a frost requirement, so there is that. But overall, it is pretty much just a flat out better card that has seen almost no play so far. And another frost spell that power creeps on an old priest card, Northern Navigation. Discover a spell from your deck. If it's a frost spell, freeze a random enemy minion. Well, Thrive in the Shadows existed, but it didn't freeze nothing, but it also didn't have the frost requirement. So again, you can make that argument, but I mean, come on, this is absolutely insane power creep. And oh yeah, this card also hasn't really seen any play. And last for Deathlight, we have Tomb Trader, the 4-mana 4/3 minion that has Battle Cry. You destroy a plague in your opponent's deck to deal 3 damage to all enemy minions. And that requirement, not very hard to accomplish. Typically, if you're playing a bunch of play cards, it will always be active on turn 4, whether you need to play it, compared to Dustbreaker, which not only was a little bit harder, you needed to be holding a dragon, it also hit all minions, including your own, so it had worse stats, a harder condition, it did have the Dragon Tribe and all of that, but overall, Tomb Trader, absolute power creep to an extent, and actually has seen some play. Demon Hunter got this Weight of the World card, a 3-mana spell, which draws 2 cards, so you could just see straight up better than Arcane Intellect, which a million cards are at this point, but it gets better than that. Forge, draw cards until you have as many in hand as your opponent's first. So you draw until you match your opponent, then get the 2 cards. You do have to spend 2 mana on that Forge, but straight up better than Divine Favor in quite a few ways. So you can make an argument, at least on Intellect, Divine Favor, and again, another card that has seen almost no play. Because, well, yeah, I mean, Demon Hunter just got this card, Sigil of Time, and that doesn't see a lot of play, and it draws 3 for 3. So yeah, card draw, not exactly hard to come by for Demon Hunter. Next we have the Druid card, Forbidden Fruit, a choose 1 card, spend all your mana, gain that much attack this turn, or twice as much armor. Pretty much strictly better than Forbidden Healing, the Paladin spell that would double the healing that you could get for the mana spent, and armor stacks on top of health. You can choose attack, or if you have double the effects combined, you can gain attack and armor. And also another card that hasn't seen a ton of play yet, but I do think will pick up at some point. And I do want to mention, at least an audible mention, Embrace of Nature. Draw, choose 1 card. Forge, it has both effects combined. Compare that to a Jerry Rig Carpenter, which costs 2 mana. This effect costs 3, but it would draw that choose 1 card and it would split them, which is a heck of a lot worse in most situations than just straight up getting its effects combined. And I will mention Life Binder's Gift, the 2 mana choose 1 spell, get 2 random nature spells, so whatever, or reduce the cost of spells in your hand by 1, which I'd say is a lot better than Siphon Mana for Mage, which you had to honorably kill a minion, and then you would discount the spells in your hand by 1. This, you just play it, and you get that mana cheat, and yeah, it's been a little bit silly to say the least. Cultivation is Quite the power creep, I gotta say. 8 mana, nature spell, give your minions +2/+2. It costs 1 less for each treant you summon this game. So this could be 0 mana, and compare that to Gift of the Wild. It's 8 mana, give your minions +2/+2 and taunt. To be fair, they get taunt, but it's 8 mana compared to often 0 mana, and when you're already drum circling, that already has taunt. So it doesn't even matter? Not really, and it's pretty darn ridiculous. And to be fair, Gift of the Wild only really saw play when it cost 0 mana with Kael'thas, so be aware of that. And I will mention, I'm not going to bring up the Titans a lot because they're just straight up like ridiculous cards. They're just super silly, but Eonar, the 5/7, where basically after you use an ability, you get a 5/5 taunt, does have Flourish, refresh your mana crystals, which is pretty embarrassing compared to Kun, although Kun would also give you 10 armor if you could combine the effects. But I don't know. I think I'd rather take a 5/7, a 5/5 taunt, and the ability to possibly use other abilities down the road. So pretty darn crazy power creep. Awakening Tremors for Hunter is just straight up better than First Day of School. This gives you 3 4/1 worms that are just pretty much better than any 1-drop you could get. And you get 3 of them. First Day of School, right now you only get 2, but back for a little bit you got 3, or you also got for 0 mana 2 1-drops. But as it stands right now, Awakening Tremors, pretty crazy power creep on that card. Starstrom Bow, which just got nerfed to 5 attack, but still 6 mana, 5 attack, 2 durability. It was 6 attack, costs 1 less for each friendly secret that has triggered this game. For 1 friendly secret, this was just straight up better than Arcanite Reaper, and it only got better from there, and still to this day it is. And Arcanite Reaper, believe it or not, saw competitive play for quite some time, in particular with Pirate Warrior. One of the most brutal cases of power creep, it's in the thumbnail for a reason. Chillomatic, the 2 mana, 2/3 mech for Mage. It has Magnetic, freeze any character damaged by this minion, and back during Goblins versus Gnomes, believe in 2015. Well, this card came out called Snow Chugger, which didn't have Magnetic, didn't exist at the time, but literally everything else is the same. But I will admit, Snow Chugger power creeps on Chillomatic because Chugga 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 is pretty darn iconic even to this day.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Unchained Gladiator is a 4 mana 4/4 elemental for Mage battle cry. You draw a card no matter what. Repeat, for each elemental you played last turn, there used to be a card, also an elemental, for 1 mana more in Bonfire Elemental. If you played an elemental last turn, draw a card. That's it. And this card can be up to like, I don't know, a bajillion. How many elementals you can fit on the board. And also hasn't seen much play, but is a pretty darn good arena card. Sif, although it says spell damage +1, can be improved by each spell school you've cast this game, I believe up to +8, which is a little bit better than the old school Dragon Malagos, which was a 9 mana 4/12, but just capped at a measly spell damage +5. And we all know Malagos was a pretty darn good card for, well, basically its entire standard run. It always seemed to see play, and I wonder if it would to this day. Keeper Strength, a 4 mana holy spell for Paladin, give a friendly minion +2/+2, so you buff it, deal its damage to all other minions. Back in my day, we played a card called Shadow Flame that would just destroy your minion and clear all other enemy minions. To be fair, it didn't destroy your own board, so it had that advantage, but this card not only buffs, but it destroys everything. It's a little bit of a toss-up if this is real power creep or not. Thought I'd throw that one out there because it just, you know, it's kind of funny that you even get to keep your big boy and Smash Face, possibly Smash Face. Serenity is a pre-spell 4 mana holy spell at that. Give all enemy minions -2 attack, that's permanent. Destroy any with 0 attack in. You know what? Do you still exist? Shatter Word Horror, which would destroy all minions with 2 attack or less, which this will always do. So this is just pretty much a straight up advantage other than your spell school type. Crash of Thunder, the 5 mana. Does it ever really cost 5 mana? It's so rare. Nature spell for Shaman, deal 3 damage to all enemies. Costs 1 less for each nature spell you've cast this turn. Compare that to like Excavated Evil, which was 5 mana, deal 3 damage to all minions, and then you would shuffle a copy to their deck. You can make an argument, you know, that disrupts their deck, makes it a little worse, but for 0 mana, I get to go face and amplify it with spell damage. Yeah, I'd say that's just a slight touch of power creep. One of the other most extreme examples of power creep currently, Chaotic Consumption, the 1 mana spell for Warlock. Destroy a friendly minion to destroy an enemy minion, meaning you get to pick both of them, or for 3 mana back in the day, you could play Unwilling Sacrifice of destroying a friendly minion and a random enemy minion. To be fair though, this could hit stealth or untargetable minions, immune minions as well, so there's some advantage to it, but let's be real, this card is way better, and I'd say for the better, because that other card, unplayable, and this one has actually seen some play. My only other Titan example, Sargeras the Destroyer, which just straight up battle cry opens a portal that summons 2/3 imps each turn. Compare that to like Niru or Lakari Sacrifice. You just get this insane minion, automatically get a portal without having to completely empty your deck or do all these weird discard things, and also you can give them infinite taunt. You could summon 6/6s or just send all minions into the void in a giant poof effect. Just a slight upgrade, although you did have to spend a little bit more mana, at least after Symphony of Sins got nerfed. Sanitize, another card that recently got nerfed. Originally was 4 mana, deal damage equal to all your armor to all minions, forge, gain 3 armor first. Compare that to the old Reckless Flurry, which when this came out, this was 4 and Reckless Flurry was 3, but for only 1 more mana, you could keep your armor, which is just absolutely insane. And yeah, it got nerfed pretty darn quick and is still a pretty good card if Druid wasn't absolutely ridiculous right now. I gotta mention Battleworn Faceless as well, the 2 mana 2/2 warrior card. Battlecry transform into a copy of a damaged minion. For 1 more mana, you got a 3/3, I guess, but compared to Bloodsworn Mercenary, this is so much cheaper. And the fact that sometimes that board space matters, you don't even lose that board spot, can be pretty darn valuable. But overall, it is just such a nutty card that is put in Rage Warrior right near the tip top of the decks, period, on the ladder. And for neutrals, we have XB 488 Disposal Body, 5 mana 3/2 mech Battlecry. Just deal 5 damage, randomly split among all enemy minions, forge, gain lifesteal. Back in my day, we played a card called Dynamatic Warrior that would deal 5 damage to all non-mechs on the board. It could be your own stuff, all that, and it couldn't even gain the ability of lifesteal. It did have a bit more stats, and Dr. Boom was a warrior card. It could give it rush, but still pretty crazy to compare the two. And lastly, and definitely not least, Yogg-Saron Unleashed. He is just ridiculous. He can come down for 0 mana if you've spent or played 15 spells. And I mean, you power creep on Mind Control with Reign of Chaos, which was a 10 mana spell for a priest, or the new Sylvanas, which is 6 mana, and you gotta like infuse and all of that. Or force each enemy minion to attack a random enemy minion and induce insanity. Pretty much better than Mass Hysteria, all attached to a 0 mana, most times 7/5, which is pretty darn ridiculous. So let me know in the comments below what examples I missed. Maybe you disagree, these aren't power creep. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.